Screen readers, macOS. In this chapter, we will discuss VoiceOver, which is the screen reader built into the macOS operating system. At the time of making this chapter, we are using macOS 10.14, also called Mojave. Please note that Apple update and change their operating system from time to time, so your screens or set of functionalities might look different from the ones described in this course. VoiceOver offers voices in more than 40 languages. Here are some of them. VoiceOver configuration. To start VoiceOver, open the System Preferences and select Accessibility. In the left pane, select VoiceOver. From here, you will be able to start and stop VoiceOver by activating or deactivating the Enable VoiceOver checkbox.
Welcome to macOS. VoiceOver is on. System Preferences. Accessibility window. Accessibility features table.
The access via the keyboard is faster. Press the Command and Function 5 key to activate or deactivate VoiceOver.
VoiceOver on System Preferences. Accessibility window. Accessibility features. VoiceOver off.
Press the button Open VoiceOver Utility to access the different VoiceOver configuration options. General makes it possible to configure some basic configurations. For example, the text to be spoken when VoiceOver starts, or which key combination to use as the VoiceOver modifier key. Most keyboard commands consist of pressing the VoiceOver modifier key in combination with other keys. By default, the Control and Option keys are set as the VoiceOver modifier key. You may configure to use the Caps Lock key as an alternative. So whenever we mention the VoiceOver keys, we are referring to this keyboard combination. By default, VoiceOver speaks a high level of detail to help new Mac and VoiceOver users. By activating the verbosity pane, you can choose a different setting. You can also choose a verbosity setting for specific items and change the order in which item details are spoken. Under Speech, we see the different voices which are installed on our system. Every screen reader needs voices. These enable the software to pronounce words in the correct language. If you want to add an additional language, click the plus option. Select the language you want to add and select the voice. By default, the system uses compact voices, which are relatively small in file size and need no additional download. If you want to use a language more frequently, you might want to install a high-quality voice for better understanding. In the voice pop-up, select Customize. macOS will show you all available languages and voices. Check the ones you would like to have.
Hola, me llamo Mónica y soy una voz española.
Hola, me llamo Mónica y soy una voz española.
Please note that these voices need to be downloaded from the internet. Depending on the number of selected voices, their quality, and the speed of your internet connection, it might take some time to download the data. Once the voices have been downloaded, they are available for use. In the navigation pane, you can customize the behavior of the VoiceOver cursor and how it interacts with the mouse pointer. The VoiceOver cursor indicates the current position in a document or application. Depending on your needs, you may fine-tune some options for web navigation with Safari in the web pane. The sound pane offers additional options. Where the system detects multiple audio output devices, you can decide to use a specific audio output device for VoiceOver. Using this, a VoiceOver user might hear the screen reader over the headphones while other users hear a different sound signal over external speakers. While VoiceOver is running, it can show the VoiceOver cursor on screen, which is the default behavior.
VoiceOver on VoiceOver Utility. VoiceOver Utility window. Utility categories table. Visuals. Selected is keyboard focus. You are currently on a table. To enter this table, press Ctrl Option. Now in tab panels and menus.
Additionally, the spoken text can be made visible as text or braille dots.
Menu 3 items tick off. You are currently on a menu item. To choose this menu item, press Ctrl Option space. To close this menu, press Escape. Closing menu, Utility categories table. Visuals. Selected. You are currently on a table. To enter this table, press Ctrl Option Shift down arrow.
The Braille version is useful for seeing trainers educating people with visual impairments.
Menu 3 items tick on. You are currently on a menu item. To choose this menu item, press Ctrl Option space. To close this menu, press Escape. Closing menu. VoiceOver off.
The lower 3 panes offer highly specific customization options, so we will not discuss them here. Feel free to experiment with them to see whether they can enhance your user experience. VoiceOver training. We are back in the Accessibility Control panel. We can start the VoiceOver training. We highly recommend you follow this training to learn some of the basic keyboard commands for using VoiceOver. Let's see how this works.
The VoiceOver Quick Start. In this Quick Start, you'll learn VoiceOver basics, as well as important VoiceOver commands to help you navigate on your Mac and use apps. You can exit the Quick Start at any time and finish it later. To advance through the Quick Start panels now. To move the VoiceOver cursor, press the VoiceOver modifier while pressing the up, down, left or right arrow key. As the cursor moves, you hear a description of the item it moves to. On screen, the VoiceOver cursor appears as a rectangular outline around the item. Use VoiceOver now to navigate around the practice area below. When you've finished, continue to the next panel by pressing the right arrow key. VoiceOver on VoiceOver Quick Start. Move around the screen window. Show all comments selected. Radio button. 1 of 2 as keyboard focus. You are currently on a radio. Hide all comments. Radio button. 2 of 2. You are currently on a radio button. 2 of 2. To select this option, press Ctrl Option space. Press Hide all comments selected. Radio button. 2 of 2. Settings. Announce alert messages settings unticked tick box. You are currently on a tick box. To select or deselect this tick box, press Ctrl Option space. Speak selected text settings unticked tick box. Tick speak selected text settings tick box. Speak text under the mouse settings learn more button. You set option button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Ctrl Option space.
As you can see, the tutorial describes every step in a very detailed way. For now, we will leave the tutorial by pressing the Escape key. VoiceOver Basics. When you use VoiceOver, the VoiceOver cursor appears on screen as a dark rectangular outline. You use the VoiceOver cursor to move around the screen. The keyboard focus and mouse pointer work with the VoiceOver cursor in a variety of ways. You can use VoiceOver Utility to set options to hide the VoiceOver cursor, change its size, and control how it moves when reading text. You can move the VoiceOver cursor on the screen by pressing the VoiceOver key with the arrow keys. To pause or resume speech, press the Control key. By default, you have to interact with a group of elements before you can navigate to its individual items. This means you have the option of either bypassing a group of elements or stopping to explore them. For example, in a Finder window, you can navigate past the sidebar to go to the View browser or stop and interact with the sidebar to open folders and files. To start interacting, press VoiceOver and Shift key and down arrow. The VoiceOver cursor stays within the boundaries of a group of elements you interact with. You can navigate only within that area. To stop interacting, press VoiceOver and Shift key and up arrow.
VoiceOver on Finder, Macintosh HD, Window, Icon View, Collection. You are currently on a collect vertical splitter. Sidebar, Table, no selection. Toolbar. You are currently on a toolbar. Macintosh HD. Full screen, button. Minimize, button. Close, button. You close, button. Close, button. Close, button. Minimize, full Macintosh toolbar. You are currently on a toolbar. To in toolbar. 7 items, \forward, group. View, radio group. Group, menu button. Action, menu button. Share, dimmed, button. Action, group, view, radio group. In view, radio group. List view, column view, radio button, gallery view, radio button, gallery view, column view, list view, radio button, 2 of press list view, selected, radio button, 2 of 4. You are currently on a radio button, 2 of 4, inside a radio group.
Let's try what we've learned so far with a web page. Reading a web page. VoiceOver is an excellent tool to test a web page for accessibility. This screen reader works best with Safari, the web browser bundled with the macOS operating system. After loading the web page, we would like to start reading the page.
VoiceOver on Safari. Accessibility demo. Window. Accessibility demo. Web content as keyboard focus.
The VoiceOver cursor is shown around the web window. The web window contains a group of elements. To enter this group of elements, we press VoiceOver plus Shift key plus down arrow.
In Accessibility demo. Web content. Header of the website. Banner.
To start reading from the current position, press VoiceOver plus A key to read all content.
Header of the website. Banner. Collage of original illustrations from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, drawn by John Tenniel. Image. Enter a keyword for full text search and press return. Edit text. Function navigation menu. Navigation. Link. A small-sized text. Link. A medium-sized text. Link. A large-sized text.
This gives us a lot of navigation information, but we would like to read the real content of the page. We have stopped reading here using the Control key. We can now navigate manually to the next or previous element by pressing VoiceOver plus arrow right or left.
List 3 items. Link. Home. 1 of 3. Link. Sitemap. 2 of 3. Link. Home. 1 of 3.
We would prefer to get an overview of the complete document. We can access this information by using the VoiceOver rotor. We press VoiceOver plus U key.
Headings menu. Landmarks menu.
An overlay appears showing us all links, headings, form controls, tables, landmarks and images on this page. Where a web page is designed with accessibility in mind, it offers landmarks, headings, alternative descriptions for images, and so on. Landmarks collect multiple items of a web page into a functional group. For example, a banner area, a footer, a navigation block, or the content. We can select a landmark in the web rotor to go directly to this part of the page.
Header of the website banner. Search. Function navigation menu navigation. Main content navigation menu navigation. The content of the page main. Main content navigation menu navigation.
We would like to continue reading here, so we press VoiceOver plus A key.
Main content navigation menu. Navigation. List 4 items. Link. Lewis Carroll. Link. About Alice. List 3 items level 2. Link. Introduction. Link. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Link. Through the Looking Glass. Link. Resources. Link. History. The content of.
As you have heard, the screen reader tells us about the list structure. How many items are in the list? When do we enter the list? This works also for nested lists. We want to get a quick overview of the content of this page, so we are interested in the headings.
Landmarks menu. Headings menu.
The web rotor can show us all headings and their levels. Let's select the first one.
Heading level 1. Introduction. Heading level 1. Introduction.
We moved the VoiceOver cursor directly to the selected heading. An alternative method for heading navigation is to press VoiceOver plus Command key plus H key to reach the next heading, or the same key combination with the Shift key to reach the previous heading relative to our current VoiceOver cursor position.
Heading level 2. Main characters. Heading level 2. Language test. Heading level 2. Main characters. Heading level 1. Introduction.
We continue reading and reach an image.
Alice and the Shower of Cards image.
As we can hear, the image has an alternative description, which can be read by the screen reader. By pressing VoiceOver plus Command key plus G key, we can reach the next graphic.
The White Rabbit blowing his trumpet image.
By adding Shift to this key combination, we can reach the previous graphic.
Alice and the Shower of Cards image. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, commonly shortened to Alice in Wonderland, is an 1865 novel written by English author Lewis Carroll, the pseudonym of Charles Dodgson. It tells.
Let's check how VoiceOver presents a table. By pressing VoiceOver plus Command key plus T key, we can reach the next table.
A table with some characters of the novel. Table 2 columns, 5 rows. Row 1. Column 1. Name. Column 2. Description. Row 2. Column 1. Alice. Column 2. Alice is a child in the mid-Victorian era. Alice unintentionally goes on an underground adventure after accidentally falling down a rabbit hole into Wonderland. Row 3. Column 1. The White Rabbit. Column 2. The White Rabbit appears at the very beginning of the book, wearing a waistcoat.
VoiceOver informs us about the structure of the table. How many rows do we have? How many columns? Let's try to read a multilingual text.
Heading level 2. Language test.
The following lines are all in different languages.
List 3 items. Bullet. This is a paragraph in English. 1 of 3.
Bullet. Das ist ein Absatz in deutscher Sprache.
2 of 3.
Bullet. Ceci est un paragraphe en français.
3 of 3.
The VoiceOver screen reader can recognize the different languages and uses the correct voice for each list item. As you can see, VoiceOver is a great tool for people with certain visual disabilities to browse web pages. Please note that most of the navigation options will work only if the author of the website has made the web pages accessible. For more information about how to make a web page accessible, please refer to the chapter HTML ARIA. Reading a PDF. We will now read a PDF using the VoiceOver screen reader. Reading PDFs works best with Preview, the PDF viewer built into the macOS operating system. We open a PDF file.
VoiceOver on Preview. Demo PDF. Page 1 of 3. Window. Document. Group as keyboard focus.
Notice how the VoiceOver cursor is positioned on top of the first page of the PDF. Using VoiceOver plus Shift key plus down arrow, we enter the page content.
In document group. 2 items. Page 1. In page 1. 17 items. Alice holding a bottle labeled Drink Me image.
We continue reading and reach an image. As you can hear, the image has an alternative description which can be read by the screen reader.
Heading Level 1. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, commonly shortened to Alice in Wonderland, is an 1865 novel written by English mathematician
We can
Charles
start
Lutwidge
reading the
Dodgson
page
under the
element
pseudonym
by
of Lewis
element
Carroll.
in sequential
It tells
order.
of a girl named Alice falling through a rabbit hole into a fantasy world populated by peculiar, anthropomorphic creatures. More information at link www.alice-in-wonderland.net. Heading Level 2, Table of Characters. Table. In table. Position heading. Column 1, row 1.
While navigating the document, we can hear that VoiceOver recognizes headings, images, links, and tables. If we want to navigate to a specific position in the PDF, we can open the VoiceOver rotor by pressing VoiceOver plus U key.
Heading menu.
An overlay appears, showing us all headings, links, images, and tables of this document.
Link menu. Image menu. Table menu. Heading menu.
We can now go directly to one of these items. The rotor offers an overview of the document and serves as a tool to quickly access all these items. Let's select the first one.
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Table of Characters. Titles in other languages. Table of Characters. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Heading Level 1. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
We moved the VoiceOver cursor directly to the selected heading. An alternative method for heading navigation is to press VoiceOver plus Command key plus H key to reach the next heading.
Heading Level 2, Table of Characters. Heading Level 2, Titles in other languages. Heading Level 2, Synopsis. Heading Level 3, Chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole.
The same key combination while holding the Shift key can be used to reach the previous heading.
Heading Level 2, Synopsis. Heading Level 2, Titles in other languages. Heading Level 2, Table of Characters.
Let's check how VoiceOver presents a table.
Table. In table. Position heading. Column 1, row 1. Name heading. Column 2, row 1. Description heading. Column 3, row 1. 1. Column 1, row 2. Alice. Column 2, row 2. The caterpillar. The Cheshire Cat.
VoiceOver informs us that there is a table. If we enter the table, VoiceOver tells us our current position and cell type. Using VoiceOver and the arrow keys, we can navigate horizontally and vertically in the table.
Out of table.
By pressing VoiceOver plus Command key plus T key, we can reach the next table.
Table.
By adding Shift to this key combination, we can reach the previous table.
Table.
Let's try to read a multilingual text.
Heading Level 2, Titles in other languages.
The following lines are all in different languages.
English title, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Deutscher Titel: Alices Abenteuer im Wunderland.
Titre en français, Aventure d'Alice au pays des merveilles.
The VoiceOver screen reader can recognize the different languages and uses the correct voice for each list item. As you can see, VoiceOver is a great tool for reading PDF pages for people with certain visual disabilities. Please note that most of the navigation options will work only if the author of the document has made the PDF file accessible. For more information about how to make a PDF file accessible, please refer to the chapter The PDF Standard. Keyboard commands. Here we see a short summary of the most important keyboard commands. There are many more keyboard commands which you can find in the documentation of Apple. You can find a link to this documentation under this video. Start learning these basic commands and practice them with your documents. Extend your knowledge over time. For testing an existing web page or PDF document, it will be sufficient to learn a dozen keyboard commands. Where to continue? For a detailed description of VoiceOver, please refer to Apple's VoiceOver User Guide. You will find the link to it below the video. In this chapter, you have learned how to use the VoiceOver screen reader using the macOS operating system. Depending on your personal interests, you could continue with one of the following chapters: Screen readers, Windows; Screen readers, Android; Screen readers, iOS.
Accessibility. For more information, visit op.europa.eu/en/web/accessibility.